Okay, so this is a video on how we're going to be testing our water. We have a new tank set up here. It's been cycling for about 4 days now. We have a sponge filter here. This is our heater. We've got a little thermometer. You can see it's a little floaty right now because I just stirred up the gravel to get some of this waste product out. Got a couple decorations in here and some live plants. This is Marmalade. She's going to be joining us for this session. When you open up your Freshwater Master Kit, it's going to look like this. You've got the pamphlet, which has the directions and the chart. So you want to make sure that you keep this booklet. Then you've got these 4 vials here. They're glass. You're going to take them out. I would probably give them a wash. Mine to use so they're already clean. They come with these little 5 milliliters. This line is where you're going to want to fill the water up to. And they come with these plastic caps. So you don't want to lose these. It's also really important when you clean them out never to use any soap. You never want to use soap on anything in your aquarium because the soap will kill your fish. Is pretty self-explanatory. You just want to dip them in the water of your tank. I've got too much in there, so I'm just gonna pour it out. It'll take some finicking until you get it to the right measurement, but you get the idea. So I try to keep these vials capped, and I usually use a paper towel in case I drop any. And then I'm just, so we just want to keep them here. And then you want to keep them in an order, always in the same order, so that you can't forget which one is which. Usually I try to keep it in the same order as what's going to be on here. So pH, ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate, always in that order. App called an Aquarimate. I've set up all of these tasks so that I don't forget to do anything. It will set me a reminder, everything. This one's for my 20 gallons. We're going to switch over to my breeder tank because that's what we are doing today. And then we can go into our parameters. Now it'll let you edit whatever parameters you want to put in. I've only done 1 test, as you can see. This little orange dot is all the different tests. This is where I log it. This is a paid app. I purchased it, but I'm sure there are lots of free ones online, and I am in no way affiliated with Aquarimate at all. So this is just my personal preference of what I like to use, and I'm going to walk you through how to do each test today. Personally like to start with the nitrite test because it's quite simple and it does take some time for it to develop. So step number 1, we want to fill the test tube. We've done the test tube, 5 milliliters of water, and then we want to add the 5 drops of nitrate solution. I'm just going to set this here so you can see what I'm doing. So there's only 1 bottle for the nitrate test. I like to give them a little shake just to make sure everything's in. They do have childproof caps, so you're going to want to press and twist it off. Don't separate the caps. So we're going to take our little vial, pop the cap off carefully. What you want to do is, it does say this in the directions, so definitely read the directions before you start this. You want to completely invert the bottle. And then we need 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put this down, put the cap back on so it don't spill. Put the lid on very tightly, make sure it snaps. So then we want to shake it for 5 seconds. 3, 4, 5. And then our final step is to wait 5 minutes to read the results. This is why I like this app so well, because you can set a timer for 5 minutes. Then what I like to do is we're going to put this back in here. We're going to pop this in there because it's right close. I can't forget which one this one is now. It's going to be the nitrite because it's right next to it. Is the ammonia test. So our test procedure is here. We'll want to get the 5 milliliter tube. Let's put this one back here just so you can see what I'm doing. So there's 2 bottles for the ammonia test. We've got bottle number 1 and bottle number 2. This test is also pretty easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with bottle number 1. We're going to take the cap off. And take the cap off of this. And then I need to put in 8 drops of the ammonia 1. So same thing, completely invert. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then put the cap back on that. I'll put it back in. Put this down. Be very careful not to nudge it. Like I said, I'm clumsy. Do number 2. Number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to cap it. Put this back in. Give it a shake for 5 seconds. And then we're going to put it here with our ammonia so we can't forget it, and start our timer for 5 minutes. We're going to do our nitrate test. This is probably the trickiest test that we have to do. It's got lots of different steps. So I've got the 2 little nitrate bottles, bottle number 1 and bottle number 2. I'm going to grab our test tube. I'll just pop you guys back here. So uncap bottle number 1. That's this one. So bottle number 1, add 10 drops of nitrate number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, you're going to want to cap this right away. The instructions say to invert this several times to mix. So just like this. It's fully mixed. I'm going to put it back on my paper towel. I'm going to cap my nitrate, number 1. And then our step before we even start adding the nitrate number 2 is we're going to want to shake this for 30 seconds. Okay, so I've shaken my nitrate for 30 seconds off camera just so it wasn't taking up all of your time. I'm going to uncap this, take my vial, take my cap off my vial, and then I'm going to add 10 drops of the nitrate number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put my lid back on, cap my bottle. I'm going to shake vigorously for 1 minute, so I'm just going to pop over here. I'm going to start my 60-second timer, and then I'm going to shake it. In 1 minute, I'm just going to put this here so I don't lose it. Put these back in there, pop that in there. Now, the only test we have left to do is our pH test. For our pH test, I am in high range pH. My water comes out of the tap at around 8. My fish seem fine with it. Really, your pH can be anything between 6 and almost 9. As long as you don't have pH fluctuations, the fish will be fine at any pH as long as it's very stable all of the time. They only get really upset if your pH starts to fluctuate big and a lot all of the time. So I'm going to uncap our pH vial. I'm just going to put you guys back down here so you can see me. So we've got our pH vial here. I'm going to take this off. So we need to do 5 drops for the high range pH. It's only 3 for the low range. Your high range pH is above 7.4. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put this back down. Cap this. That noise is just my timer on my app saying my tests are done. Cap this. And then just give it a shake. this one's pretty much ready to read whenever it's done. I'm gonna put this back here. I'm gonna put this back here. So now we're going to interpret our test results here, which is why you need to keep this pamphlet. So our nitrite is the first one that we're gonna do. It's already done. So it's probably easiest if you stand this up somehow and then hold this up to here. So I'm at 0, very clearly I'm at 0. This is a breeder tank, so it's still cycling. It's a brand new tank. I will want to see this come down into here somewhere before I'm ready to add any fish to it. Luckily, I don't have any fish to put in. So we're at 0. I'm just going to log this one really quickly at 0. Save results. Oh, I went back too far. Okay, so next we can check our ammonia. It's done. This one's our ammonia here. We look like we're either at a 0 or a 0.25. It looks a little warped on camera. In real life, it's closer to yellow than it is. But I would log it at a 0, but definitely use your best judgment. If you're not sure, I would just select the one below it. But currently right now, it looks like I don't have any ammonia in the water. And then we're gonna move to our next one, our nitrate test. So I think it's got another minute or so. I set the timer a little late, so let's do the pH. pH doesn't really need, it can be interpreted right away. So let's just put these back here, pop this guy up here. Okay, so it looks like my pH might have gone up a little bit. Sorry. So I would definitely put this at an 8.2 today. It's pretty normal for your pH to go up. If you haven't done a water change, your carbonate can affect your pH because it's a buffer. I haven't changed this water in a little while. I probably won't until I'm ready to add some fish, although some aquariums might say different. So I'm gonna log this at 8.2. Save results. So this is still in my clear. This green bar is the clear. It's very normal. Yesterday it was at 8. Today it's at 8.2. I don't have any fish in there, so I'm not concerned at all. Also, I don't want to put any chemicals in to change my pH. So my nitrate's done. I know the timer wasn't done, but I did set it late. So my nitrate is much, much darker than it was a couple of days ago. Which is great, which is exactly what we want. So if we hold this up closest to here, with my eye, it looks closest to around 40, which is fantastic. That's exactly what I want. I'm gonna wait for this number to go back down to about a 5 or a 10 before I'm ready to add any fish. This is some good progress we're having here. So technically, I could throw some fish in right now. I'm gonna wait for the cycle to finish. I don't even have any fish to put in there. Probably for my breeder tank, I'm gonna put some snails in. But as long as I keep adding a little bit of waste product, it should be fine. So before I finish today, I wanted to try to give you guys a quick explanation for what each of these values mean. Because each value means different, and this allows you to check how healthy your water is, how much bacteria is in your water. So let's start with pH. Depending on how old you are or what your school district's curriculum is, you may have been taught what pH and the ammonia nitrogen cycle means, but you may have not. I mean, I learned about pH in school, but I did not learn about the ammonia cycle. I had to learn about this all by myself when I started keeping fish. So with your pH, that is your power of hydrogen. That's what it means. And it's how much hydrogen is dissolved in the water. So with high concentrations of hydrogen, you have acidic substances. So the higher you are on this scale, the more acidic it is. So like lemons up here, probably like at 7 is neutral. So if you have exactly 7.0, your water is neutral. It's not acidic, it's not basic. It's not going to do anything to anything else. That's why between 7 and 8 is usually a pretty good place to keep your tropical fish. So then we move on to your ammonia. Ammonia is very toxic to most live animals, humans, fish, pets, whatever. So you always want your ammonia to be at 0. Your ammonia is created from decomposing waste in the fish tank. You can get ammonia spikes if you don't have enough bacteria. You can get ammonia spikes if a fish dies. You can get ammonia spike if you have high ammonia in your tap water. Your nitrite is a test of how much bacteria is eating the ammonia. So if your bacteria, if there isn't enough in the water, you will get nitrite left over from the decomposing ammonia that's being eaten by your bacteria in the water. So the ammonia turns into nitrite. That's how that one works. Then your nitrate is the good stuff. You want nitrate in your water. Your nitrate is sort of finishing off. It's telling you how successful your bacteria is. So then the bacteria in your filters and in your gravel and in the plants and everything, it will eat the ammonia, turn it into nitrate. And then the nitrite will get eaten again and it will turn into nitrate. So your healthy bacteria will give you a nitrate reading of 5 to 10 parts per million, and that's a good healthy level. So you want 0 ammonia, 0 nitrate, and between 5 and 10 parts per million for this to be a cycled tank. We are down here, so we're not completely cycled yet, but that's okay because we're still waiting for it to finish cycling. I do have some live plants in there, so that will help it cycle a little faster. The plants are great because they will use the waste in the gravel as fertilizer, but usually it's not enough. You'll usually have to add a liquid fertilizer, but that's some more advanced fish keeping. If you guys have any questions, you can let me know. I'm certainly not an expert in this, but I do a ton of research on everything. I try to keep my pets as healthy as they possibly can, so I ask lots of stupid questions, lots of dumb questions until I feel confident enough that I know what I'm doing.